Hi, welcome to the Happy Homemaker. My name is Marcel. I am the Happy Homemaker. I am starting this YouTube channel to help people who want to be better homemakers, who want to take care of their homes. I'm very passionate about it. I'm here with my coffee. You saw me making it before. It's espresso, so it's really, really strong. Even though it's early in the afternoon, I think I still have until 3 o'clock to do it. But I'm very happy to be here, and I'm happy to be giving you ideas about homemaking, about cooking, about taking care of your home. If you haven't been very successful with that, I can understand that, because I used to be in the same boat many years ago, and I taught myself how to take care of a house, how to run a household, how to take care of a family. And I think so many of us need help with that there really is a need for channels that will help women, or even men, if you're a stay-at-home dad, to do that and to be able to take care of your home to the best of your abilities. And there's so much that we can learn. So I'm very happy to be here. This is only the beginning of the channel. Last year I posted a few cooking videos. So if you want to go back and take a look at those are great. The channel had a different name then, Busy Mom Cooks. And it was all about dishes for moms who cook, but who are very busy, who don't have a lot of time to spend in the kitchen. So let me take a sip of my coffee. I think I'm talking really fast, but I'm just excited to be here and to start this journey. This is my first video, so I hope it comes out okay. I'm not a techie person, so I'm going to try to edit everything that I need to, and I'll leave the mistakes in so that I can correct them later and learn as I go along. I don't think I'm going to edit anything out. So I think that's important, to be authentic and to be able to do life in an authentic way, and that's what I'm here for. So I intend to talk a lot about routines, because that's so important for you to continue your lifestyle in homemaking. So I had to get up to adjust the camera a little bit. I wanted to see how everything was going, so I'm sure that's going to happen. But I think it's very important for us to have guidance. If you're just starting out, if you just started a family, or if you've been a homemaker for a really long time and it's difficult for you to get the hang of things, you feel like you're always trying to catch up, I think it's very important to have someone who will show you the ropes, so to speak. So I want to be that person. I am a very happy homemaker. My journey has been long. I've been married for 22 years now. It's going to be 22 years in September. And I didn't like homemaking when I first started out. I didn't know what to do. There was no one to teach me. I didn't grow up doing anything at home. So it was a long road for me to be able to accept that this was part of my job, that I had to do these things. I have to be honest, I was very spoiled growing up, so it was very difficult for me to take ownership of taking care of my house and of my family. I love motherhood. I love being a mom, so that came very naturally to me. But the homemaking part, cleaning, the cooking came very naturally as well, because I love to eat, I love to cook, so that came very naturally. But the routines and finding out what needed to be done when, that was really difficult. So it was a lot easier for me to just do things very quickly. And that's when I started. I found out that I didn't have to spend 6 hours cleaning on weekends. I could break up the chores and do them a little bit at a time during the week, and they would be done. And I have had times when I had to work outside of the home and I had to adjust as well. So it's been difficult to find that balance of when you can let things go and when you can't. So that's what I want to talk about on this channel. I want to help people to find that line and to take care of their homes in a way that's healthy, in a way that makes them feel good about themselves, that's good for their families. It's so important for kids to grow up in a sanitary, in a clean environment. It helps them to do chores, it helps them with responsibility. So that's why I think it's so important for homemaking to be at the forefront of what you do. And if you're in a very privileged position to be at home exclusively, then you really should take care to learn more about your craft, because that's what it is. Taking care of your family, taking care of your home is your craft. And if you work outside of the home, like I've had to do for a few years at a time, then even more reason for you to learn what to do and when. So that's what I'm going to talk about in the next few videos. And I'm going to end every video with a recipe. Today I'm making a delicious recipe. It's potatoes au gratin. And today I'm going to serve it with chicken wings, which I think doesn't go very well, but I'll see what they say. I have a teenage son, he's 15, and my husband retired early, retired at the age of 48. So we spend a lot of time together, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. So we spend a lot of our time together, and they give me feedback if they think that something doesn't go with the meal. They really tell me. And so I've been dying to try this potatoes au gratin recipe, but I never have anything to make it with that would kind of go. So I'm making roasted chicken wings tonight. I thought, well, maybe it's chicken, maybe it will go. So I'll show you guys how I make it, and I'll be trying it out, and I'm sure it's going to be delicious because the recipe looks great. So we're going to try it out together. And then if you watch this video and you try it, leave it down in the comments if you tried it and what you thought of the recipe. But it's going to be a good one. So I'm going to go now and give it a few hours. I have a few things to do. I do a lot of reading. Let me show you one of my books here. This is the Chicago Manual of Style. I love language and I love literary rules. So I've been kind of reading this. It's more than 1,000 pages long, but I love to learn the rules. So that's what I've been doing. I'll be doing that for a few minutes, and then I'm going to start dinner, and I'll show you exactly everything that I do. So let's go do that. So it's a little later in the day. I realized that I never told you guys anything about myself, where I live, you know, what my journey has been until now. So I'm going to do that now. So we live in Southwest Florida for most of the year. So we are in Naples, Florida. I don't know if you've ever heard of Naples, but it's mostly a town or a city. Really, it's a city. I think it's a big city. My husband disagrees, but for retirees. So people who have retired, a lot of older generations here, but it's a very ritzy place to live, and everything here is beautiful. The restaurants, the beaches, the pool, which we go to all the time. So, you know, it's a great place to live. But we come from Connecticut. So we moved here from Connecticut about 3 years ago. We were living in Airbnbs for a while while we were trying to choose where to live and where to really settle down. So we decided on Naples, and we love it here. We go to the beach all the time. My husband loves it. He loves the lifestyle. He hates the winter in New England, so he never wants to go back there. But we still have a beach house in Massachusetts on Cape Cod, and that's where we spend our summer. So when it gets really hot here in Florida, we go up north and we go to New England. We go to Cape Cod. We have a cottage in Eastham. I don't know if you're familiar with Cape Cod, but it's a beautiful town. We have the bay beaches, we have the oceanside beaches, and it's a great place to be. So in about a month, we're going to be leaving for the season. My husband and I will stay until October, and our son will come down to start school in August. So he's almost 16, so he'll be taking care of himself, and that will be something to get used to, but we're looking forward to that. We're going to stay until early fall and then come home in October. So we have kind of not really a snowbird thing going, because it's kind of switched. We are here for most of the year in Southwest Florida, but we spend the summer in New England. So that's kind of how things have come to be with us. And it's interesting because my husband retired early, as I said, and we decided to completely change our lifestyle. We had a house in Connecticut and everything settled there. My son was in school, and I don't homeschool. He goes to public school. So, he had his life settled there, but we decided after the pandemic, when we were in between two homes, Connecticut and Cape Cod, that, let's just make a change. Let's go where we're the happiest. And we had come to Florida to visit, and we loved the area of Naples. We were traveling all around Florida to see where we might settle down. And we decided for Naples, and that was a really interesting, we traveled for about 3.5 months during the pandemic, or about a year later, but everything about the pandemic was still in place. So we decided to just move to Florida. So we sold our house in Connecticut and came down here, and we have been here ever since. My son is in high school here. And he loves it. He loves the area. He's made friends and his life is all settled again. But I think the pandemic changed so many lives, and we were one of those families that really changed everything about how we live our lives. So that really changed for us. But we decided to keep the house in Massachusetts and go back for the summer. And I'm really looking forward to that. The videos will be from the cottage. We have a tiny cottage. It's less than 1,000 square feet. So the videos will be interesting from there. I have a few on this channel from our little kitchen there because I was already posting videos last year when we were there for the summer. But I hope to get to know everybody who watches these videos, and tell me about yourself in the comments. I would love to find out. So I'm going to start this recipe. It's potatoes au gratin, or just simple potato casserole. It's so easy to make, and I'm going to start out by preheating the oven to 400 degrees. And I have everything prepared there. And first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to take an 8-inch square dish, and I'm going to put some butter on it. And this makes it very delicious. Don't skip this step. Usually I just use Pam or just, a cooking spray, but the potatoes get this beautiful crust when you use actual butter. And that's something that I don't usually do because it's kind of messy. You have to really wash your hands really well afterwards, even though I wash it before I start. Just disclaimer, I wash my hands before I do anything in the kitchen, but it takes a while to get that butter off your hands. So I usually don't take that step, but for this casserole, it's actually important. It made a delicious crust on the potatoes. So when I was developing this recipe, I was thinking of ways that I could improve the dish, and butter is one way to do that. So there you see me drying off my hands, and now I'm going to get started on the actual potatoes. Now, this is a recipe for 4 servings. I'm using 4 good-sized gold potatoes. If you're using russets, because they're larger, you would only need 2 of them. So I'm making enough for 4 people. So what I'm doing is that I'm slicing the potatoes, and then I'm stacking up the slices and cutting them into fourths. So into quarters like that, as you can see. So cut them into 4 pieces. That just means that the potatoes will be the correct size and they will cook really well in the heavy cream, in the sauce that we make for them. And this takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it. And then after that, you're going to divide it in thirds and just put 1/3 on the bottom of the dish, and then continue to build your casserole that way. But it makes it very easy, and it goes pretty fast if you pay attention. Then I'm just slicing them and making a big pile of them, and then just putting them all together. I think it's important to stay organized as you're cooking. I try to do that. You'll see that as I use an ingredient, I put it off to the side because I know that I have to put that away. And I do that a lot when I'm cooking. I'm always keeping the kitchen organized as I go. I wash dishes as I go. That's why it's very important to start every cooking project with an empty dishwasher. If you don't have a dishwasher, then you just do your dishes by hand as you go along. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about that as I'm cutting the potatoes there. And that's very important because you don't want the kitchen to be a big mess when you're done cooking. That's just so much work for you. Don't do that. Be organized as you're cooking, and then you won't have to to worry too much about how your kitchen looks after you're done. You have less work after you eat with your family and you have a good time. So I have that pile of potatoes there. And I'm going to start by putting the sauce together. So I have 1 cup of heavy cream there that I'm going to use. It makes it very easy because then you don't need 2 types of dairy. It's just, and I'm checking the level at eye level to make sure I'm at 1 cup. That's very important as well. And then 2 cloves of garlic. Now, if you really like garlic, you can use more than this. I think it's garlicky enough. If you don't like garlic that much, then cut this in half. Use only 1 clove of garlic, but garlic is very personal. So I'm just mincing it up there. You choose how much you want to add to the recipe. I don't think we should be recipe Nazis and try to tell people how much garlic to put in their food. So that's up to you. So I'm just adding that to the heavy cream. Notice that I'm using a wet cup measure, not a dry. And now I'm going to move on to the flour. I have a big container of flour there, and that's just 1 tablespoon. Kind of a heaping tablespoon. That's going to tighten up the sauce. And then half a teaspoon of salt is what I used. I think the salt in this recipe is perfect. So is the pepper, half a teaspoon of pepper. And then I'm going to close up the flour there. Again, keeping things organized, put it off to the side, grab a whisk, and just whisk those ingredients together because that's what I'm going to use to layer in my casserole dish. So I'm going to do that now, and this comes together so easily. I was amazed. This was the first time that I made this recipe, and I was just trying to think of ways to make an easy potato dish that everybody would enjoy. But it does take a little bit of time. It stays in the oven for an hour, so you have to plan ahead. So you see me cleaning up there. I think I had a spill there, so I clean it up immediately. Now I'm going to take about 1/3 of those pieces of potatoes and layer it onto the dish, and then cover that with about 1/3 of the heavy cream mixture as well. Make sure you use heavy cream for this. I don't think I would try half and half or even whole milk for this. I will go with the heavy cream. I know it's very rich, but you need richness in a potato recipe. Potatoes can be very bland. So if you can find a way to make them richer, this is the way to do it, by adding garlic and adding cheese on top. I think that makes it delicious. And I'm just putting the last of the potatoes on top there, and see that I'm going to try to put enough of the heavy cream mixture over the top of each potato so that they're I'm pressing it down, as you can see, a little bit, so that they're all inside that sauce. So that's just one of the things you have to pay attention to when you do this. Like I said, it's going to be in the oven for about an hour. First covered and then uncovered. You want to have a mix of both. And then, as you can see, I'm putting the heavy cream measure in the sink, and you'll see me doing the dishes as well in a little bit. Now I'm going to cover it with tin foil or aluminum foil. Depends on where you live, what you call it, or how old you are. I've noticed that too. Depends on your generation if you call it tin foil or aluminum foil. I just think it's interesting. So the oven is almost preheated, but you can put it in there. It's fine. It's probably going to be preheated. I think it was at about 350 when I put it in, and it goes up to, I set it to 400. So I'm just going to wash my cutting board, wash my knife, and there were a few other things in the sink. And then I just kept doing the dishes and making sure that everything would be like that, ready for when I start cleaning up. And I just have the dishwasher going. And I actually do my dishwasher early in the morning. I unload it, and I spend the whole day collecting all the dishes. There are certain things that I do by hand, like my knife. Oh, and you can see my son walking through the door. He was coming home from school. I started dinner kind of early yesterday because I knew that the dish was going to be in the oven for about an hour. So he had his track practice, and then he came home from school, so I was saying hi to him.
and I'm putting everything in the dishwasher as I go. And you can see that, that apron really helps me. It helps to keep my clothes clean. I really enjoy wearing it. And it's pink, so that makes me a little bit happier. I love pink. So there are things that I don't put in the dishwasher, like the knife. And it was a little slippery, as you can see there, but I washed my knife by hand. It's a Wusthof knife, which is one of the best knives that you can get. If you're in the market for a new knife, go with Wusthof. It's spelled Wusthof, but it's pronounced Wusthof, and a lot of people don't know that. The German is Wusthof. So that's a wonderful brand of knives to get, and I mean to get steak knives from them as well, because that's a knife that I've had. I've had this knife for literally 21 years since I first got married. I've been married for 22 years, but I've had this knife for 21, so almost the full amount or length of my marriage I've had it. So now I'm cleaning around the sink. I put everything away already, but I always like to wipe things down. And I have this wonderful lavender cleanser that I use around the kitchen. And I even use it on my floors too, because it's an all-purpose cleanser. And so I clean it. I clean everything with it. It's not very harsh, but it still cleans everything really well. I don't have to add too much of it. So I'm always wiping things down, and I need to put something there in the garbage disposal. I always forget that name. I don't know why. It's hard for me to remember it. But there was a little piece of potato there that I had to cut off. So I'm always wiping things down and keeping everything clean. If there are spills, you get to them right away so they don't dry off and become more difficult to clean. You're just making more work for yourself when you ignore things. So I wipe down the fronts of the appliances, and I do that very often.
So the casserole is in the oven. I'm waiting for the first 30 minutes, and then it's going to cook for 20 more minutes without the foil on so that it can get nice and bubbly. But in the meantime, I'm reading Stephen King, Salem's Lot, and I'm going to spend the next half an hour with this horror novel, which is great. So I'm always trying to entertain myself, and I prefer books to TV, even though, there are always good things that YouTube can bring you. So sometimes I watch videos on YouTube as well, but um, I'm always looking for good books that will be entertaining. So this is a good one. It's an old one. It's from the 70s, but I still like it. And I'll be reading my book and enjoying my grapefruit juice until it's time to get the casserole out of the oven. My son just came home from school, so we'll be spending some time together as well before dinner. And then after that, then we all sit down together and have dinner. So that's my afternoon.
So it's been half an hour. I'm just checking on the casserole, and I'm going to remove the tin foil and let it stay in the oven for another 20 minutes. And that's going to make it very easy. Now this is after 20 minutes without the tin foil, and I'm going to put some cheddar cheese on top. And then it's going to stay in the oven for about 10 minutes after that, just to melt the cheese. And you can see how bubbly it is. It's exactly what you want. All of the potatoes are perfectly cooked in that sauce. So I'm just going to cover with about half a cup, or you can tell I'm not measuring. Just enough cheddar cheese to cover the top, and that's going to make it delicious and cheesy. And that's all you can ask for from a potato casserole. So in the oven for another 10 minutes, and that's about all you need to do. So this is the finished product. Thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you come back. I'm going to talk a lot about homemaking and cooking on this channel. So I hope to see you here. And leave me some comments in the comment section and let me hear from you and what you think.